How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. My wife just went to for her night shift. Um,
Yeah.
so so I'm here alone with the dog doing
Where does she
podcasts.
work?
Since she works at a local hospital here in the neuro floor. Yeah,
Okay.
neuro floor. So
Does she like it?
yeah, she likes it. You know how this is her like first job out of school, so she's just still learning, and she's only been out like she only had this job for like 3 months, maybe 4 months. So
Oh, wow. Yeah. She's a baby nurse.
yeah, but she likes it. She enjoys. She's picking it up quick. So, and I told
Good.
you, I think I told you, I got accepted. So I start January 17th. I think is my first day. So
That'll be fun.
yeah, it's exciting. Different step.
Very well. Oh,
So, say that again. I couldn't hear you.
I said I remember all that very well.
Yeah. How long have you been in nursing?
2 years, 2.5 years.
Two and a
So
half
right,
years.
right, yeah, right when COVID kind of got bad, that's when I graduated,
Hmm.
and I got thrown to the wolves.
Yeah. That had to be like a tough time, because I mean I just know from like the girls that I talked to that were in nursing during that time, it was just really really bad. Certain states was even worse. Like I know New
Yeah,
York got hit really bad. So
right, yeah. People that were in the ER, they been there for like 20, 25 years, and they were like, it's never been this bad. They
yeah.
were like, "Hey." A lot of them actually quit.
Yeah, I heard like the nursing like staff went down considerably,
Yeah,
like just overall in the country, because the people that were close to retirement, they just went ahead and retired, and then
yeah.
others, I guess, that just didn't want to deal with it.
With
So
like doctor's office or urgent care.
hmm yeah,
I'll
that's
call him
wild times.
or text him. Sorry, my brother's trying to call me during this.
Oh, no worries. I mean, do you need to? Is it something important? You need
No,
to take it?
but
Okay.
it's never important with him. It's probably like, oh, does mom want this Christmas gift? Or are you wrapping her presents? Or am I?
Right, right.
It's not
Just
important. I just
got
got
it.
my to get him. He'll be okay.
Got it. Well, I just wanted to like first of all thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on the show. I greatly appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I feel like a big change for me, but it's been fun so far. Just trying to still let it all sink in.
yeah, nice. Well, and also with that being said, big congratulations to you. Not only like winning your class, but then the overall as well. That's huge, right? That's a big deal.
Yeah. I'm still trying to process it and give myself credit, I guess. I'm always hard on myself. So
Yeah.
um, my coach is like, "You're doing great," or my fiance is like, "Hell yeah, like, can you believe it? I mean, you won the
Yeah.
over." They're like, I can't believe it. But
So so did you like, how can I say this? Everybody comes to win, right? Like that. So it's kind of like a funny question, but did you expect that you were gonna win your class in the overall, or like I know you said it's kind of a surprise, but when you were up there, did you think that you were stacking well, or did you just not even think about potential outcomes?
um I went in there wanting to at least place or first or second in my class.
Hmm.
I didn't really have the overall, like, I was like, that would be ultimately my end goal, of course.
Right.
But realistically, I was like, it was actually my fourth show total. Um, so I was like, we'll see.
Right.
The feedback from the one I did 2 weeks prior to nationals, they were, your legs need to be leaner, a little bit better posing. And
Hmm.
my coach sent me a new plan. We increased the cardio. I mean, there were days that I was doing like 110 minutes of cardio. Um,
Wow.
so we really had to like step it up. And I mean, my body responded very well, and my legs came in,
Yeah.
and it was all perfect, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially from the front. I think your legs were like really sharp from the front.
Yeah. My coach sent me a comparison from Shelby, North Carolina when I did that and won the overall to when I won the overall at nationals, and it's like night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, weight wise, I was able to probably drop because in Shelby, that was the state championships. I was probably 109 when I stepped on stage, 110,
Mm-hmm.
and then nationals for finals, I got down to like 104.
So
So
yeah, I mean that. Well,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, 5 pounds is a lot when you're talking about stage weight. You know.
right. Then
Yeah.
me being I'm 4'11, so
Mm-hmm.
it was, and I started the prep at 116, 117. So I feel like we were able to still keep a lot of muscle, but really get down in weight. And that's what it took to get my legs to come in, because that was really my
Yeah.
stubborn part um, of my whole body. Like my upper body's been shredded for 2 months now,
Mm.
and my lower body just wanted to kind of take its sweet little time.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, right? Like some of your body parts are just so like stubborn, you know. It's like, and everybody has them. It just depends on
Right.
like, who you are. But usually men like, and I know for me too, it's like mine would be like that love handle area. It's like that's the last thing to get to leave, and it's the first thing to come back whenever I like
Right.
gain weight, you know. So yeah, it's wild. So so when did you compete before you went to the nationals? Like how long of a span was that?
It was just 2 weeks.
So in 2 weeks you were able to make those kind of changes?
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. Usually, it would take longer than that, especially when you're talking about um losing like body fat and getting in shape. Sometimes when you're talking about just peaking, like a problem with peaking, that can be quickly fixed. But when you're talking about, getting like more lean, 2 weeks is a short time. So that's impressive that you're able to do that in such a short
Yeah.
time.
Um, I feel like my coach did a really good job of just, I mean, we did daily check-ins, sometimes twice a day, 3 times a
Hmm.
day. Fasted, post meals, post workouts, post cardio,
Yeah.
weighing 3 times a day, 4 times a day. And then he would just tell me how much water to drink. I mean, we didn't peak for Shelby, the state championships, just because we knew we had nationals coming up.
Hmm.
We did kind of like a mock peak. It wasn't as like, I guess, strenuous as the Orlando peak. Um,
Yeah.
but it all came together, and
Yeah.
obviously he was able to respond. And I think I was less inflamed for nationals than I
Hmm.
was the state championships, just because we were in nationals, we were able to rest, and like we had to travel the day before state championship. So I think that had a little bit to do with, how inflamed I look on stage that day. I mean, I still looked good, but not
Right.
like in Orlando.
Were you nervous in nationals at all? Like when you were, the preparation for it. I guess like the week of, and all that, everything you had to put into it.
Um, I was worried my legs were not going to come in,
Mm.
but my coach literally was there every step of the way. He reassured me. My fiance was like, "We got this," because they see me every day as well. And of
Right.
course, us as bodybuilders, we're our worst enemy.
Hmm.
We're gonna pick ourselves apart every little piece, or it's never good enough, or we could have done this better. But that's really the only thing I was worried about. And then, of course, my posing routine, because I feel like that's the hardest part of any of the bodybuilding. And I don't know, I guess
Yeah.
practicing posing um, is the most important part, and just going in there and being confident. But as far as being nervous, actually, no.
Mm-hmm.
I
Hmm.
felt very calm, um, just very like in the zone in the moment. Like I was trying to take it all in, um, and not let my nerves get in the way.
Yeah, it's so I mean that definitely could add like to the fact that like if you're not as nervous, that inflammation wouldn't be as much of an issue, you know, because when you
Mhm.
get stressed out, like a lot of times it can totally change your physique.
Right. Yeah. And my coach and my fiance, they did everything to keep everything low stress for me. So
Hmm.
that played a big part in it. Like my fiance drove us all the way to Orlando. It was like a 7 hour,
Hmm.
well, it turned into like a 7.5 hour ride because I had to stop and pee all the time. But so all that helped. We didn't change any foods. I stayed on the same thing. I know some people eat a little bit differently, like the night before.
Hmm.
Um, we literally kept everything the same amount of water. We didn't have to drop any water or increase water. No diuretics. I mean, nothing crazy for this peak. Everything, it just, my body was just ready.
You
I
didn't
was in,
use any, you didn't do any diuretics for this show?
no, no.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's almost unheard of.
I know. Um, I was drinking 2 gallons of water, and that's what I stuck
Hmm.
with. I had like 4 ounces of wine that night. I mean, I guess that's a diuretic. And then I woke up. He gave me little sips of water
Hmm.
throughout the morning. I had a nitro cold brew. Um, so I guess those caffeine would be, and then the wine would be the diuretic that I used. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that's not. I mean, it is, I guess, technically, but yeah, I was meaning more like actual, like you know, diuretics. Yeah, I
no,
mean, that's awesome if you can get that kind of conditioning
I
without diuretics.
I was, I mean, I'm impressed with my coach, and I feel like
Yeah.
he finally the pro card he's been working so hard for. I won this for him, and
Mm.
obviously for me, but mainly for him and the team because he's just done such a good job with me, especially me being one of his first female clients to go this
Hmm.
far. Um, and I've been with him for 2.5 years, so he knows my body. He knows me, takes care of me. Um, and then really we had water throughout the day, not a lot. I mean, a little bit here with the meals that I ate prior to finals. And then I had, I think it was another nitro cold brew before finals.
Mm.
But that was it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's such a big deal to be with a coach that you know, that is looking out for your best interests because you know as you probably know because you know you're in the industry now, you know, you've been there for several competitions and stuff. It's like finding coach that fits you sometimes can be very difficult, and people
Oh yeah. Yeah.
jump coaches a lot and things like that, so relationships get, you know, sometimes it doesn't end on good notes, you know, so it can be very tough.
Yeah. I got lucky. He's the first one I hired, and I think it,
Hmm.
it worked very well. I just stuck with him.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't, and I feel like they've missed out on what he has to offer.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the case because, you know, you know, you're here now. You got your pro card. You know, you're on your way to your pro debut.
Yeah.
Do you have ideas on like how you want to approach, you know, your pro career?
So I emailed Sandy and got my feedback already.
Hmm.
She said more lats, obviously more lat development, just a little bit bigger.
Hmm.
Keep the waist tiny. Um, Quad sweep I need to work on, she said. And then a little bit more of my upper glute development
Hmm.
and my back shot. But she said my back was pretty much on point a lot, just need to expand the lats a little bit. Um, and then of course I'll have to work on my pro posing routine. But I
Hmm.
work with Sid on my posing, so I think that'll be
Yeah.
something I can. I don't know as far as when. I guess it'll just depend on what my coach thinks and how much I can grow. Um, I would say within the next year or two. I feel like that's pretty doable.
Yeah.
Um,
That's posing is such a big deal because it's like you can develop a great physique, but if you can't present it,
right.
in such a way that it draws draws judges to you, it can really make a difference.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And Sid has helped me so much, even though she kills you during those 30-minute sessions. Like I am drenched in sweat by the time I'm done with her. Um, at one point I wanted to cry. It was probably the second session I had with her. But she's like, keep holding it, keep smiling. But I recommend her hands
Yeah.
down. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, she's just, I mean, she's obviously one of the best figure competitors
Yeah.
out there. But
Yeah. You need that. Like sometimes you
yeah,
need that. You need somebody to put you through the grind because if they're not putting you through that, sometimes that just means that they're not taking the right amount of time with you.
right.
It's like you need somebody to put you through that because when you're on stage, it's going to be difficult for you to perform if you haven't been practicing it. A lot of people just practice like posing for very short amount of time and it's just not enough.
No.
um how often do you practice your posing?
When we started the prep, I was probably practicing twice a day.
Mhm.
Like after fasted cardio and then after my lifts.
For how long
Um,
each time?
I would say like 10, 15 minutes each
Mhm.
time. If I was really tired, I would probably just do 5 or 10, run through it. If I nailed it, I was good. I would have my fiance watch me a lot and practice, quarter turn to the
Yeah.
right, holding it, tweaking things. But the posing, just like you said, it'll make or break you.
Right. How do you well, before we get going, I'm pulling up your Instagram page. I don't know. Can you see it there?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I just wanted to run through some of these
yeah.
shots here. That's a
I
nice
feel
picture right
that
there.
he did such a good job.
So right here through the front, like you looked so much sharper in the
Yeah.
I think I just saw your stories um where you were I think in your stories you had like a little video of you in the
Yes, I
lineup.
post that. Um,
Let
I
me
just
see
feel like there's
here.
so much to post and I'm so behind. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's that's all right. I just kind of wanted to let the people know who might have not caught the nationals of like, the kind of like what you look like. And I mean, you were very sharp. I mean, it, it was it would have been tough to like not give you the overall. So I mean, I think what you did in those 2 weeks, you've really came up for
right.
sure. Yeah.
Um, no, I'm tagged in one of Gilco's videos. That probably shows like a sharper uh,
Okay, let me see here.
version,
Let me
but
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to find it. I might. Let me see here. Do you
it's
know
like
where?
it would be one of his reels. It's probably not too far down because he let's see.
Do you remember the cover of like, did it have you on the cover?
Yeah, you'll keep going.
Okay.
It was before the amateur Olympia. It's like right before. Let's see. Yep, keep going.
Yeah. I just don't want to
Oh,
miss it. Sometimes I'm blind and I'll run through something so fast there you go. Right here.
yep. So that's probably gonna give you the best. I've got to post this myself, but
Yeah.
yeah, much sharper.
Yeah. You can see just the lines, the tie-ins.
Yep,
Yeah. Posing is really
much
good.
better. Yeah,
You're keeping your composure. Yeah, definitely. Back looks
yeah.
great.
That's nerve-wracking part of it is just trying to hit those poses
Hmm. So
because
wait,
they give you
go
what
ahead.
like seconds. I think they wanted us to keep it at.
Well, how long?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. See, that's not a lot to really
I feel like,
display what you have.
yeah, when I felt a little rushed at nationals. I feel like we've been practicing within like the 30-40 second range.
Hmm.
So I did feel a little rushed, just because when they told us 20 seconds, I was like, oh, but it worked out and
Yeah, yeah.
I was able to
All
hit everything.
Yeah, all's well that ends well, right? Like you just,
Right.
since you won the overall, everything else is kind of, a moot point. But if
Mm-hmm.
you, but if you wouldn't have, I'm sure you would have been like, oh, I wish I had,
In the
would
world.
have more time. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's interesting. So, with as far as like your height, being 4'11", and I might not be aware of like everybody's height in the pros and everything like that. There was a girl that worked out in my gym who was doing very well in figure a couple of years ago, and she was also like in the 4 foot something range, and she was saying it was kind of like a little bit problematic to be that short. How do you feel about your height? Because so generally speaking, like when I'm thinking of just muscle, the shorter you are, the more you'll fill out, right? So you don't have to, like, you have an easier time filling out your like build. But I don't know how that would work like in figure. Is it an advantage to be shorter, or is it more problematic?
Um, I don't really know. I feel like
Hmm.
so far it hasn't been a problem for me,
Hmm.
but maybe standing next to, say, Sid, who just has that insane shape, um, it might be a little harder because she does have the longer torso. I feel like
Yeah.
my torso is short. So definitely keeping my waist smaller will be key,
Hmm.
in actually keeping my shape. Um, and I guess it might be a little problematic with my quad. My legs are shorter, so they're not going to have that long, slender look
Hmm.
standing someone that's really tall. But so far, I feel like, I mean, on the during nationals, I feel like I was really, really short compared to a lot of the other
Yeah.
women, obviously. And I mean, I still feel like I stood out, and my shape was what they were looking for.
Hmm.
But I guess we'll see on a pro level, it's going to be totally different.
Right, right. You won't have
Um,
any classes. It'll just be everybody,
yeah,
into
right,
one show. Yeah, that's what's like interesting about the pros and the amateurs is like in the amateurs they separate you by class. What are those classes based on height? Is it
yeah,
okay? So there separate you by height, and then when you go to the pros, it's like there's no separation. So it
right,
gets a little bit interesting. But see, I almost think that if everyone else is tall and you're a little bit shorter than everybody else, it almost still like the eyes are still drawn to you because you're different than everyone
right,
else. And
yeah,
right, so it's kind of like you're almost like because you're so different, it's like they pay attention to you more. I don't know. Like to me that
it might be. We'll never know.
yeah.
I guess when I get that far.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So you're thinking a year or two to
Yeah,
grow, and then yeah, sounds good. Yeah, you definitely want to like be at a point where you already like know, hey, I'm gonna step on stage and be competitive
right,
as opposed to growing while you're like competing. It can be kind of tough. So
right. Because I mean, my coach was tossing around the idea of just doing the pro debut and
mm,
maybe a year, and then waiting again for the Olympia stage. Like, because I
yeah,
feel like Olympia is just really big. So even if I did my pro debut and did well, we might say, okay, we'll improve another year, and then we'll take it to that next step. Because I wouldn't want to go on there and not be competitive. I
yeah,
mean, I feel
yeah.
like
I
girls
agree.
have been doing it for 10 plus years, a lot of them, and this is my going on third year with a
Right.
coach. So it's kind of like, uh, I want to earn that spot.
Yeah, I agree. I think you'll make more of an impression on the judges too. A lot of times with the pros, these judges, especially on the bigger shows, they're the same people. Like they kind of circulate around the same circles. So if you come in with like a wrecking ball, you're gonna make way more of an impression on these judges. You're gonna be memorable as opposed to you slowly like just nibbling at each show each year. It doesn't have quite the same impact. Plus, prep takes a lot out of you, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you don't want to be going through prep all the time, like, I'm
No,
not doing
no,
well. So
no, no. Um, we really jumped right into off season, and I'm gonna go back to work because I was able to take at least it's been like a month and a half off of work because
hmm
I've been traveling as a nurse
okay.
year. So I was able to take, a month and a half off between contracts before this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that helped me tremendously
Yeah. Is
because
it are you go ahead, I'm sorry.
I've been able to just like focus on eating, cardio, and my meal, like my
Right,
meal
right.
stuff. Um, so I'll go back. I actually started travel assignment beginning of January.
Mm,
And I'll be on. It's just 2 hours from my house, but that's still it takes a toll on you as well, just traveling and
yeah.
being a nurse. So I'm gonna make the most out of it and try and hit my meals, try and hit my lifts. But my coach knows, hey, she might not be able to hit all 6 meals when she works a 12-hour because I can barely. I mean, I might get, I'll get my breakfast in, but sometimes I don't get to eat till 4 or 5 that
Yeah.
night, and that'll be my second meal, and that's just how it is as an
Yeah.
ER nurse. But
Are are you nights?
I'm days.
Your days. Okay. Yeah. So that's what my wife was saying too, is that like sometimes she might bring food. It might be hours before she sits down to eat it. And she's not in the ER. So I can only imagine like if the ER is probably a little bit more high pace, also during the day, you've got a lot of moving parts.
It's
Um,
it's
yeah.
rough. It's rough. There's been days where I only get my breakfast and one meal, maybe my entire shift.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it is
That's
what
rough.
it is. And I mean, that's the hard part as far as trying to be a pro bodybuilder.
Right.
It's not really realistic to have a nursing job and to be a pro bodybuilder, but we'll see how far I can do. But like with the traveling, you're able to take so much time off between the contracts, so that will help as far as planning for a show. We
Yeah.
didn't plan to compete this year, which is funny, but I was able to take
Mhm.
some time off, and I was like, why not? My coach was
Right.
like, ready. I was like, I don't think I'm ready because I feel like my off season was kind of hit or miss because I was traveling and I was working 4 12s a week
Mm.
for like 9 months.
Oof.
So, I mean, I was able to lift. I was still able to get good lifts in, but I was still very tired most of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Um, but it all worked out, and I feel like we know what to do to improve, and we know what
Yeah.
works with.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're definitely will have to be more strategic because as opposed to someone else with a different kind of, work because for you everything has to be calculated, and
Right,
you can't just wing it. And that's going to be the difference. But most people wouldn't think you'd be able to, win an overall in your pro card either,
right,
being a nurse, but people do it and you did it. So there's no telling what you could do with the pros. I mean, look, you could, to be honest, you only need to win one show, pick the right show, and then you're going to the Olympia, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was thinking about having the show with you. Like, how did she handle like being a nurse and competing? That's got to be tough. As far as like lifting, I know you said you got your lifts in, and you're constantly tired. Did you have to like? Were there times where you were like, I don't even want to like go in there and train. I just want to go home. Like, how did you
uh,
get over that?
Yeah, especially working like the 412s when I would get off, I was like, the last thing I want to do is drive to the gym, get a lift
Hmm.
in, come back home, try and get 2 meals in, go to sleep and wake back up the next morning for a whole
Hmm.
nother shift. But I just went in there and did it
Yeah.
regardless.
Discipline.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And focused
So,
on, going heavy and hitting it hard. I mean, that's how I train. I train
mhm,
like probably like my coach and my fiance do. Like my coach is
mhm.
classic physique. He's a big dude. He trains
Yeah.
hard, goes in there, doesn't mess around. And that's how I train. I don't
Yeah.
train like a, small little girl. I train like,
Uh-huh.
um, you know, I'm in there to fucking kill someone or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
like
think
a
that's
maniac. Yeah.
what it takes. That's what it takes. It takes, that's what it takes to build that muscle, I guess, and just
Right.
to grow. Most people are like, how do I grow? I'm like, we need to train. You got to train. You got to eat.
Yeah.
You know, go in there
And
and
you
attack.
Yeah, and when you're like I personally know when I'm not like having a good lift and I don't feel good. Like if I'm in there and I'm just going through the motions and I'm not pushing myself, I'm not being intense, like you're saying, it's like if it just feels different. You almost feel like, why am I even here? Like, why am I training if I'm not going to train hard? And and that's, sometimes I just see people and they're just going through the motions. I'm like, what are you doing?
But
Like, why are you even here?
let's
And
have a let's have
go
a
ahead.
plan. Make the most of our time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's, that's important. You feel like like how, I guess I'm trying to find the best way to say it without getting a lot of backlash from women. But do you feel like the women's divisions, is there like a good chunk of women that train hard like you do, or do you feel like that's more of an anomaly?
Um, I guess it depends, but I feel like you can definitely tell on stage who trains hard and who doesn't.
Hmm.
And like
Yeah.
say who's improved from their last show and who hasn't. Um, you have to train hard to put on that muscle. I mean, that's honestly what it comes down to. And if you're not training hard and smart and recovering smarter,
Hmm.
you're not going to make the progress. You're not going to look better than you did last year. You're just
Yeah.
not. I mean,
What do
that's my
you,
opinion.
yeah, yeah. What do you do for recovery? You do anything
Um,
special?
I always roll out. I like my hot Epsom salt baths, a massage.
Hmm.
I use a massage gun. My fiance is always rubbing my feet at night. Um, and lately I've been trying to really take rest days. I don't
Hmm.
sit very well, but like I know I need to just not lift that day.
Yeah.
Um, Especially when you train as hard and heavy as we do.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, I need to take a day.
Yeah.
Um, I take Calm from Revive. I feel like that's helped me a lot. I take it twice a day after I lift before bed.
What
Um,
is that like? What does that do, if you don't mind?
it's like for your cortisol.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like that's helped a lot just as far as recovery. It's got like magnesium in it, so that helps as
Hmm.
well.
So you have a pretty good routine where you're like constantly you're as focused on recovery as you are on training
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
eating. So
Yeah.
yeah, you kind of need to do everything, right? Like you need to be able to do everything to bring the best, package you can bring.
You can't half ass it and then step on
Mhm.
stage expect to win, and that's what I've learned.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were to take like a little pivot. You were talking about how like your legs, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it would tend to, take a while to lean out. Have you
hmm
ever thought about competing in like a different division, or were you always set on figure from the get-go?
Um, well, initially my coach was like maybe wellness because I tend to hold everything in my lower body. I mean, I've got
Right.
really decent quads, my glutes, everything in the lower body grows very easily.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but my love for my back and my shoulders, I love back day. I love a good delt pump. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't see me backing off of any of upper body to fit in a wellness or bikini division.
Yeah. Yeah.
And women's physique, my coach would love for me to enter into one of those, but I just feel like figures for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking wellness because of the legs. That's what I was getting at. But yeah, I don't know if I would like to see you in like in women's physique. I think figure or wellness would be like ones that I would say like you fit
Yeah.
really well in.
I mean,
But yeah.
back or upper body, and I couldn't really go as hard there. I think wellness would be great. I actually did compete in wellness last year. They wanted me to do it at the Upstate Classic. I got second
Mm-hmm.
out of three. There was three in the class. Um, but I don't know, when I step on stage, like in my suit for the figure and the poses just feel natural. Like wellness, it just didn't feel as natural to me.
Uh-huh.
It's more like, I guess you have to have that personality for wellness, and I feel like I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely like a more of a focus on how can I put this? Like more of a focus on hmm, trying to find the right words, but they're kind of
Right.
escaping me. Like wellness and bikini, there's like more of like I guess you could say like a pageantry in it, or like a more of
Or
I don't know. Yeah, personality. I guess there's something there. There's
yeah,
something different, and there's something different with figure. Figure is really like I was just talking to somebody. Is why I love figure so much is because there's a focus on muscle as well as like femininity, right? And that's kind of
I love it. It's a clash between bikini and physique, and
right.
still enjoy my heavy lifting days with my fiance.
Yeah, yeah,
And we
yeah,
go,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think I could.
It's hard to like love to lift upper body heavy and be in like in bikini or wellness because
Yeah,
it's like you just wouldn't be able to do it. It's
no,
you would fall out of the
go.
division. So
I'd be like, can we please hit some rack pulls or something, or
yeah,
deadlift heavy, or some overhead shoulder, like dumbbell shoulder press. Like, no, I
right,
could
right.
not give that up.
That's funny. So did you always like love to lift and train before you started competing, or was this just something that came on, more recently?
Um, let's see. I've probably been in the gym maybe 5 years.
Hmm.
I used to ride horses competitively,
Oh,
and
interesting. Wow.
yeah, for years, like 10 plus years. I've had horses all my life, but
Wow.
I sold my barrel horse and horse trailer and all that to go to nursing school.
Mm,
And so I put that on the back burner. Um, and I was like, I need something to do to stay in shape.
yeah.
So I found the gym,
Hmm.
and
And
the
then
rest is history.
yeah, and then you just started to just you know, move forward. When did you switch to like wanting to be competitive? Was it when you and your fiance met, or was this something that like you just kind of found when you were in the gym?
Well, I graduated nursing school, and it's funny because my coach actually messaged me on Instagram and was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Have you ever thought about competing?" And I was like, kind of, sort of, but not really. Why? And he was like, "Well, I think you do great."
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is kind of history.
Got it. And then you
I
just went with him.
I signed up with him initially just as like a lifestyle client because
Uh-huh.
I was like, I was finished nursing school. I was finally making money. I was like, I can
Mm.
afford a coach. So why not?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a year later, I stepped on stage.
Yeah. Pretty
He,
amazing. Pretty amazing story from that
he
from
convinced me
horses to go
at
ahead.
first, like, Corey, I don't want to wear a bathing suit on stage and heels. Are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? And then here I am. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Were you now that you said that, I was just curious, and it's neither here nor there, but were you like more of like a tomboy, or were you like doing like more
Yeah.
guy stuff when you were, younger
Oh,
and stuff?
yeah. I would never dress up or wear dresses, or my mom always had to put clothes on me, or I would cry if she dressed me up, or she used to have me in dance and gymnastics, like ballet,
Mhm.
all that, cheerleading, all that stuff. I would cry before practice because I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
But I was
Yeah.
great once I got there. Like they wanted me to do like all the nutcracker and all kind of stuff. I mean,
Right.
but initially I but yeah, all my life I've been one of the boys, I guess.
Yeah. Well, go okay, yeah, so that then I could definitely see why you're like heels and
Yeah, no.
posing suits. What is this?
Like what?
Yeah, yeah, that's funny. So I have been kind of asking like figure competitors, like talking about this whole situation with the Arnold. Yeah, I don't know if you're aware of it, that they removed the figure division from the
Yeah,
Arnold. Um, Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, he took the figure division out.
Yeah, yeah. And now I just recently, like, I did a podcast with one of the wellness girls that won her pro card at nationals, Chloe, and she told me that she thought the amateur Arnold was canceled completely, which then I found out it was. So now
Yeah,
the amateur Arnold's gone, the figure division from the pros is gone. Like what are your thoughts about that?
of course I think it's a little crazy. I
Mhm.
wish he would explain why a little bit better. I feel like I forget what their comments were about it, that it didn't have, what did he say
Yeah,
about it?
yeah, they were saying that from what I understand, they were saying that the figure division didn't have enough draw as
That's
a
it.
yeah, so
I mean, I see it when I've gone to shows that more people like the bikini and they like the wellness.
mhm,
I mean, I still think there's this stigma around women having muscle,
right.
and I feel like it probably intimidates men a little
Mhm.
bit. You know what I mean?
I was thinking, I mean, like, yeah, that's probably true because bikini has like that look that you know I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest, men like to look at, and women kind of like to be a lot of average, like not average. I don't want to say
Yeah.
average, but like, a regular woman can relate to that look.
Right.
Wellness is a little bit like, I mean, those girls are pretty muscular, but I think that figure, they're not. It's not feminine. It's a feminine look. It just has a little bit more muscle. So
I mean, that's my thoughts on it. I love the figure look.
yeah,
I feel like you can still keep it very feminine while having all that muscle. Like Sid is still
yeah,
looks like a woman. Valerie's another one that I love. Have you
yeah.
seen her?
I
The one,
believe so.
the
Mhm.
one from Canada.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Gorgeous,
Yeah.
gorgeous woman. And then her physique is just like, I just love the way, I love her look,
Yeah.
her whole. And then I think it's Stephanie Gibson is another one that
Mhm. Yeah, I know
I
Stephanie.
love, love how she looks too. And still very feminine, but then again has all that muscle.
Right. Yeah. It's a real shame. Because I posted something about one of my podcasts that we were discussing this, and I tagged Ivana on it, and she kind of responded to me in DMs and stuff. And I was just telling her like it's a real shame to see like a big show like that to remove a standard like the figure division,
Right.
because it really is like a standard. Like that's like them removing, I don't know, men's bodybuilding or something. Like so yeah,
I feel
it's a shame.
it's
Go ahead. Say again. I'm sorry.
it's very disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully they'll bring it back in, but you know, you never know with all this stuff. So
Right. I'm waiting on, I think someone just needs to take over the Arnold or
yeah.
something. Someone else.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so. So part of the problem, and again, this is just from what I've been hearing, like through other podcasts and just information, that the guy that's running the Arnold now, like the entire like expo and the show, has come from like the Comic-Con world. So he knows how to run like big projects like that, but he doesn't know anything about bodybuilding. So it's you know, it kind of lose you kind of lose something when you don't know the sport that well, you know.
right.
So yeah,
We'll
that's
see. I guess we'll
yeah,
see what happens.
we will. We will. Well, I really appreciate your time. I won't waste your time anymore. I know you've got a very busy life.
You.
Yeah. So I just wanted to, before we end, I wanted to ask you, like, if somebody wanted to reach out to you with more like podcasts or questions or anything at all, like, you know, related to that, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Probably through my Instagram.
Okay. And I'll link everything at the bottom of this video, so it'll be easy for you to reach Teresa. And again, congratulations, and you
Thank
have a
you.
great rest of the
Thank you.
evening.
You too.
Take care. Bye bye.
You too.